Urgent, G-Man fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Big Blue news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Giants' next move at QB predicted to make Wilson and Winston irrelevant. The NFL draft is fast approaching and the New York Giants have a major decision at number 30. As draft day approaches, fans are wondering who their team will pursue. With this lucrative pick, New York has their options and, frankly, a vast talent pool to select from. Offensively or defensively, there are foundational franchise pieces available at that spot. But a fundamental belief held by many throughout this process has centered on the teams need to find their next quarterback. Once the Giants signed Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, initial appearances hinted at New York punting on that long-term decision until next offseason. However, neither of those signings have scrapped their pursuit of a rookie quarterback. The Giants will be on the hunt for a play caller in the draft, and ESPN draft analyst Field Yates believes they will use their first-round pick to solidify that commitment. Despite the Giants' signings of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I just don't buy them passing on Sanders. If the team is bullish on Sanders being its franchise quarterback, the veteran signings are irrelevant, Yates writes. With Wilson and Winston sharing the QB room with him, Sanders could learn and keep developing without the pressure of being immediately thrown into the QB1 role. As Yates notes, selecting Sanders is more about the franchise's future and stability, less about identifying their exact starter for Week 1. In fact, all signs point to Wilson starting under center when the Giants kick off the season. But Sanders is currently an unfinished product and will need more work before being handed the keys to the offense. Assuming this quarterback room holds in some fashion, he will have two veteran players to learn from. Now, waiting his turn is likely not be the path Sanders expected or wanted, especially if he comes off the board at number 3. Conversely, from the Giants' perspective, they may have a sound developmental plan for what should be a foundational piece. The Giants have their future front of mind, and assuming they see Sanders in that picture, they clearly have a plan in place. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Big Blue news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks! Now let's get back to the news. Giants-Colts trade idea brings polarizing $34 million quarterback to New York. The New York Giants have made some high-profile additions to the quarterback room, but there's still a chance another body is added to the unit. The signings of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency give New York the flexibility to go into the season with a tandem of veterans at the position, but the future at quarterback is still the primary concern for general manager Joe Schoen. In proposing some trade ideas for embattled former number 4 overall pick Anthony Richardson, Gary Davenport of Bleacher Report believes the Indianapolis Colts could have a potential suitor in the Giants. With Wilson on the roster, the young quarterback could take a season to slow things down and develop as a passer under an offensive-minded former coach of the year in Brian Daboll. The third pick could then be used on Carter, Sanders, or as bait for a trade that could land New York an extra first-rounder next year, Davenport wrote. Compensation could be tricky here, but given how aggressive the Giants have been at quarterback this offseason, Schoen might as well kick the tires on this move too. Despite his high draft capital from the 2023 NFL Draft, it has been a rough road for Richardson. He's dealt with constant injuries while his lack of development forced the Colts to sign former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones as his primary competition. Richardson showed some promise following his 2-game benching during the middle of his second season, but he also ended the campaign dealing with a back injury, which was added to a long list of issues the uber-athletic signal caller has dealt with. Richardson is going into year 3 of his rookie contract, which is currently valued at $33.9 million. The decision on his 5th-year option will need be made during the 2026 offseason. Bringing Richardson into an environment with Wilson, Winston, and head coach Brian Daboll could ultimately prove to be what the young quarterback needs, but it would also involve the organization taking on a major risk. Trade hypothetical sends freakish quarterback to Giants. The New York Giants have positioned themselves well to be flexible with their first-round pick. With quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in the building, the short-term need to take a quarterback is alleviated. One of Colorado two-way phenom Travis Hunter or Penn State edge rusher should be available too, and the Giants could very well add a blue-chip prospect instead of a passer. However, the long-term need for a franchise quarterback persists, and missing out on Cam Ward or Sanders would make New York favorites for a second-round quarterback or a double dip into round 1. Another way to alleviate that need would be rolling the dice on a buy low young quarterback, assuming one is available. As such, the Giants are among the teams hypothetically interested in trading for Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson in a recent Bleacher Report article. Much like with the Tennessee Titans and Cleveland Browns taking a run at Richardson could allow the Giants to have their cake and eat it, Gary Davenport wrote. With Wilson on the roster, the young quarterback could take a season to slow things down and develop as a passer under an offensive-minded former Coach of the Year in Brian Daboll. The third pick could then be used on Carter, Sanders, or as bait. For a trade that could land New York an extra first-rounder next year, the biggest reason why Richardson won't be traded is because it would almost certainly bring an end to the regime. General Manager Chris Ballard and head coach Shane Steichen need Richardson to hit if they're going to have any real job security. Trading him at a discount leaves Indianapolis without a real starter, destining them to a full season of Jones. Richardson also doesn't necessarily make more sense than a day 2 rookie quarterback. He'll have 1 year left on his contract by the time he's starting games in 2026, which limits the opportunity for the Giants to make a long-term decision. He is more physically talented than any quarterback in the 2025 class, but after 2 injury-riddled, inconsistent seasons, the likelihood of Richardson panning out likely isn't higher than a cheaper option like Mississippi's Jackson Dart or Alabama's Jalen Milroe. There's real upside here, but the Colts won't be eager to make the deal, and the Giants aren't incentives to hitch their wagon to his profile, making this a non-starter for fans looking for creative options under center. And now, G-Men fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Big Blue. I'll be back any moment with more Big Blue news. J-E-T-S. Jets. 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 Let's go. Giants!